Today we are at MCC, Southern and Dobson campus at Club Rush. This is Tara Baker with MCC's Financial Literacy. Welcome. We're looking to interview students, find out what kind of financial literacy they have, or to ask us a question. Exciting stuff today. We would like to give a big shout out to the new Media Lab experience who helps us put this podcast together. And if you have a project that you're working on and you need some assistance or help or are interested in doing some kind of media for your project, you should check out new Media Lab experience. They have open lab hours and you can sign up to work on a project with them. They'd be happy to help. I am here with Emma, and Emma has a question she would like to ask. Go ahead, Emma.
Hi guys. So I was just talking a little bit about the struggles with money I'm having, and my issue right now is that every day I kind of need almost like I've gotten addicted to the dopamine rush of just getting a little treat every day. I need to reward myself, whether it's a coffee or a new book, a new shirt. I just need to do that. So lately I've been trying to get the dopamine rush elsewhere, but it's a little hard.
Okay, that's a lot of us face that, and I'm included in that. And if you're looking for some suggestions of, maybe how to curb that or make it affordable to be able to do that, because you could do that, is if you track your expenses or if you have a budget and you know how much money you have, you should be putting aside some money for you to spend on yourself, because that's what keeps life interesting, enjoyable, keeps you sane, especially with all the schoolwork and everything going on, right?
Totally.
And so if you know what that amount is, then if you just pay attention to how much you're spending of that amount each and every day, you can continue that habit.
That is very smart. Yeah, another thing I do is debit card.
Debit card. Okay, debit card roulette. Okay, so it's coming out of your account. Yeah. All right, but if you can set up, this is how much I have to spend for the week or for the month, and you keep track of that, and it's an amount that you can afford, right? You're not putting off your needs or anything like that, then you can continue doing that.
Right. That is smart. I should start doing that. What do you do to track? Is there I want an app or something.
Yes. So I recently came across an app that is basically a spreadsheet, right? You have to put in your amounts. You don't have to connect any accounts to it. And that's helpful because then you are required to put in what you're spending, right? And then it's in front of your face. You know exactly what you're spending. Mm-hmm. I believe I also have it linked on our financial literacy website.
Oh, awesome.
So you can see what it is before you download it on your mobile device and start using it. I've played with it. Super easy to use.
Oh, super cool. Yeah, I should definitely start doing that.
All right.
Another thing is I never keep track of what I make.
Yes.
A budget is definitely something I need to set up.
Yeah. Even if it's as simple as keeping track of what your income is and what your spending is, that's the most important.
Totally.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Okay, now we are here with Joseph. And Joseph, what is a financial goal of yours?
A financial goal of mine is to save enough money to become financially independent in the long term. In the short term, I want to be able to save enough money to be debt-free and buy a reliable car. And then after that, purchase some property like land or a house.
All right. Those are great financial goals.
Yes.
Good for you. All right. And did you have a question for me?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
What is the 50-30-20 framework?
Oh, that's a great question. So the 50-30-20 framework goes with budgeting or expense tracking. And what it says is you look at how much income you get per month. So let's just say it's $1,000, right? So if your income is $1,000 in the month, the 50 means 50% is going to your needs, so survival things,
Okay.
right? Day to day. 30% goes to your wants, which is the things that you spend money on that bring you happiness and joy and kind of keep you sane with all the school stuff. And then 20 means 20% goes towards savings goals.
That's really good. Thank you. I didn't know about that framework, but it makes sense.
Hello, everybody. We're here with Caleb, and we're going to ask you a question. Do you have any tips or tricks for any college students in here in MCC to, give them advice on how to save money?
100% you could get an on-campus job, which will help a lot, and I think they give out scholarships for that. Definitely be on the lookout for any scholarships or grants that you can.
Yeah.
Explore those options, exhaust those options before going into any type of loans. MCC is pretty cheap, so you usually don't need that if you have FAFSA or any type of good GPA standing.
Yeah, that's really good. And do you have any other tips and tricks when it comes to outside of school in general, like saving on, movie tickets or gas or anything like that?
Oh, okay. For saving on gas, highly recommend the transit system. If you can, commute allows it, try out the light rail. Really good option. For $2, you can just hop on for the day and just cruise, Or just in general, I'd like to save up pieces over time. Make sure you have a good backlog of just money saved up, just in case, for a rainy day or anything in the future that you want to save up for. You might not never know. Maybe you don't want to save up for something right now, but in the future you could want to, and you'd be like, oh, why didn't I do that? Well,
Yeah, that's really true. For instance, saving for a car or for a house, people don't really take into consideration until it's too late. When they're 30, they're like, dang, I should have just saved up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you're what most people, I'd assume, 20, 19, 18, fresh out of high school, probably still living with your parents, you're not thinking about a house or an apartment or a car. You're just thinking, oh, I'll just go to school, I'll save up for that, I'll save up for this new game, I'll save up for, Starbucks, I don't know.
Yeah, they live in the moment instead of 5 years in the future,
Yeah. And for sure, live in the moment, enjoy yourself, but be responsible with your money. It's something really, really, really undervalued, I guess, skill.
Mm-hmm.
What are things I should consider before opening a credit card?
Well, things you should be considering before a credit card, for my opinion, right, is to start up a budget first, right, and pretend you have a credit card, right? So basically, save up money for an expense that you're gonna be having.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how people say, oh, use your credit card for gas or for chips or light expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Set aside money for those light expenses. And then after that, when you feel like you're getting the habit of responsibility, because the first thing that people don't really take in consideration is having that responsibility when it comes to credit cards, because that's how people get into credit card debt, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a burden. So handle that first, and once you handle the responsibility, then open yourself a credit card, but also do research, of course, right? What's good credit cards, because some have fees and stuff like that. But once you get the hang of that, then I'd say you could get a credit card and build your credit score and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, I like that. So, building that responsibility first, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, for sure. Because I've been looking into a credit card, right? I'm only 19, right? So I don't have that much credit to my name.
Yeah.
It's in good enough standing for where I'm at right now. Anyways. Yeah.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Caleb, for joining our podcast.
Hi, yes. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I would like to ask you, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us today in the podcast. And I would like to ask you, why are you interested in financial literacy?
I'm interested in financial literacy. I'm trying to be very independent, trying to be able to support myself. And finances, it's very important. Kind of moving from, your first maybe minimum wage job to something that can really support myself and allow options later on in life.
That's awesome. I think independence comes with a lot of responsibilities, and from there it comes all of the financial decisions that you need to take.
Definitely. The question I would like to ask is, when should a person start investing for retirement?
So we recommend students to start investing as soon as possible because the compound interest, which is a way how you can get money by the interest going on your favor. So basically, when you make a deposit in your investment account and you leave it there for 1 year, and you are having a 10% of interest, just to put like a number,
Yeah.
you will be earning $10 for the next year. And so if you start as early as possible, after 50 years, everything that you are earning are more interest than the amount of money that you are putting on the account.
Okay.
So that's why it's so important to start as soon as you can. And for this, we recommend students to make types of investments that they are comfortable with. You were asking me before recording that what's a type of investment that is the right one. My answer is that it depends of the type of risk that you are comfortable, because sometimes you are very into researching companies, and a stock might be very popular for you or very a big interest for you. But for the other side, if you prefer to have something more safe, you really don't want to risk a lot, you can start with a bond,
Okay.
which is also a very secure option to grow your money. And we also recommend students to check the CDs options, which are short-term investments, usually are around 6 months to 1 year, and they give you around 5% of interest,
Okay.
and are most of the times very secure.
Cool.
Mhm.
Sweet. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you for being part of this.
Thanks.
Welcome back to Financial Literacy, and we're here with Andre. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Andre. All right, so the question that I have, I am hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and I have time in the military, so I have my GI benefits, I have other resources as well, and here at this school you guys have several resources also. How can I use the resources that are available to the best of my advantage so that I can pull myself out of debt and still be able to focus on school?
Yeah. So there are many resources in MCC, right? Many resources. And seeing the cost of how it is in college, right? It's really affordable. So you could use those advantages that are in the sites, by searching up like military service, stuff like that. And what would you do, if you don't mind, what branch did you serve for?
The Marine Corps.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And you can use the resources there to, take that to your advantage, and they will help you out and stuff like that, financially, stuff like that.
Okay, so go through FAFSA.
Yeah.
Where would I need to go to in order to talk to someone for FAFSA?
You can speak to the financial department.
All right, cool. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Do you have any tips or tricks for students, like brand new out of high school?
Yeah.
From your experience?
So I would definitely say to use your resources to the best of your advantage, knowing who to go to so that you're able to take all these different resources that you have and put them all onto one piece of paper or one thing to actually look at it all together, so that it's easier for you to kind of navigate through how and what things you can actually either make cheap for yourself or just make completely free.
And do you have like any resources to recommend for people?
I mean, the school is the biggest one. If you serve in the military, then you gain all the benefits with that, with your time served. And then if you have any friends or family, or if you hit the lotto.
Yeah. I mean, we all wish that,
Oh, absolutely. I do a lot with that.
Yeah, especially with the, Powerball and stuff like that. You just see that numbers and you're like, wish that was me,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why you have to work hard and stuff like that, because sometimes, life isn't always nice and pretty,
True.
Do you also have any other tips and tricks away from school,
Carpooling. Carpooling helps. Taking the bus.
From your experience, right, what are some things you can tell from students to avoid, from your mistakes, so they can learn from it?
Honestly, I would say the biggest one is to listen to any of these trends that are going on. With money and clothes, if you have clothes that work, then why get rid of them?
Yeah.
Why buy new ones if you can just use the ones that still work?
That's almost like shoe people, They get like a little stain and stuff like that, and they're like, you know what, I need a new pair of shoes.
Oh.
Yeah, there was something like that in TikTok. But
Yeah, if you have the money for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But sheesh. Otherwise, you're just putting yourself more and more in debt. And a lot of times, it's not even just debt for you. It's debt for the people that come after you that have to suffer for it.
Exactly.
Because, my kids are going to be feeling it if I don't get myself out of this.
Yeah. so many people like now because they're living in the moment. Because like that motto is like you could die any moment, and stuff
YOLO.
like that.
Yeah.
YOLO. There you go.
Yeah.
But then people don't realize that there's potential to live for a long life, and you have to really see that future.
Yeah.
You have to really put that into consideration.
That is true. Yeah, and then depending on the person's belief structure, if they buy all of this stuff, they add more karma to themselves.
Exactly.
So if there is a possible chance that they come back, then they're having to deal with all the things that they bought in the previous lives.
But it was nice having a conversation with
It
you.
was nice talking to you as well.
So, hi Mackenzie, how are you?
Good, how about you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today in College Cash Corner.
What is your best way to budget?
I think the best way to budget is first understanding what's your income, what are your expenses. Then I will suggest to think about which expenses are necessary, are a need, and which ones are a want. Moving on, subtract those, and then think about how much you can save. So, for example, what I do is that I look at my check, and then I think, okay, I need to spend this much on my needs, and I would like to have this much on savings and this much on wants during this week or during this month. Or it also might depend over my financial goal. If I'm thinking I want to travel or I know I have a big expense coming on, I will be more restrict with myself. So what I do is more like a flexible budget. I'm changing my percentage of needs, I'm changing my percentage of wants and savings depending on my situation. So I think that's how I budget, and for me it works. I try to do it at least every week, where I restate what are my goals and what's the best way to do it. And yeah.
Thank you.
What about you? Have you ever think about what are your financial goals?
Yeah, I have a high yield savings.
Okay.
And I definitely want to grow it this year. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I've been doing that. Been working on that one.
Do you have any amount? You don't need to say it, but do you have any amount in mind, or is just I want to make it grow?
Well, I just want to make it grow as much, but we did set a goal that 100 a month.
Okay.
After a while it'll grow and stuff. I'd like to put in more, but that's just some months might not be able to.
So, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Financial Literacy.
Hi, my name is KJ, and I'm a political science major.
How's that going so far?
It's going okay. I just switched my major again, so...
So, I have a question for you today, right? Do you have any tips or tricks for people to learn from your experience out the world, whether it be from school or from out there,
I think probably a big thing is to utilize all the resources available to you. I know that I've looked into using on-campus services and stuff like that to help with budgeting, and then I also make lists for groceries, stuff like that. Try to make the most out of sales and things, so just kind of doing research and asking yourself, before you buy something, do I really need this?
Exactly.
Do I really need this? Yeah, definitely. And I think that when there are so many costs out there, you have to be very mindful of overconsumption, right? So I think that a really good strategy is just to give yourself, if you're thinking about buying something, give yourself around 24 hours, come back to it, and if you still really want that thing, then consider again. I think that's a good strategy to kind of cut back on overconsumption and spending needlessly, which can be helpful financially.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It kind of reminds me of that one saying, don't go shopping when you're hungry.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. And actually, psychologically, they found that the longer you spend in a store, it builds on your decision fatigue. So if you spend over 30 minutes in the store, you're likely to buy more.
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll end up spending a lot more, and you'll end up impulse buying. And it's the same thing with decision fatigue, really. You just get so tired of making decisions that you're more likely to just make snap decisions and not really be mindful about what you're doing.
And last question, do you have any financial goals that you're trying to achieve later down the road?
Definitely one of my big financial goals is to make some smart investments, and be able to, retire at a good age. Like, those are some of my big financial goals for the future.
That's nice.
Okay, we are here with Sam. Sam, what is your question for us?
What kind of things should I consider if I'm opening up a credit card?
Okay, so there are a couple of things. Things that you want to check out about the credit card is you want to know if there's rewards. A lot of people use credit cards for the rewards. You would also want to know if there are any annual fees, because that may sway your decision one way or another to go with that credit card. Because the annual fee, you would have to pay it every year, regardless of how often you're using the credit card. Another thing to consider is what the interest rate is on that. A lot of people use credit cards and they don't know how much interest is getting charged to them when they carry a balance from month to month. And the other thing that probably the number one thing to consider is having a plan of what you will use that credit card for, and then how you will pay off that balance every month. The best practice, all financial experts out there will say, don't carry a balance, because if you use a credit card, let's say you pay for gas for your vehicle, and you have that already in your plan with your money that you're going to have to pay for gas, the bill comes, you pay that full amount, and you will never pay interest to that credit card company. Mm-hmm. So you'll never end up paying more than what you originally spent. So I think those would probably be the big considerations. Just know the ins and outs, read that fine print of the credit card, make sure that you're comfortable with it, and then also have a plan of how you're going to use it, and how you're going to make the payments on a regular basis, because a credit score is greatly affected by not paying your payments on time and at least the minimum payment required.
Is a credit card the best way to build a credit score?
There are different ways to build a credit score. A lot of people use a credit card to do that, which is a great option. But if you're worried about sliding into a lot of debt, having a credit card, a type of credit card that's out there is called a secured credit card, and basically it's not exactly a prepaid credit card, but it kind of works that way. So you go to the institution that's offering the secured credit card, you put down money. So let's say it's like $300. That becomes your secured credit card limit. You go use that credit card, you make your payments, but that $300 is sitting there so that if you slip up and you don't make your payment or something happens, that money, they take then from that money. And then if you end up closing that secured credit card down the road, they give you your money back that you put down. So other ways to build credit is if you have anything that you bought that you have to make monthly payments to, say like for like a cell phone, or you bought something, you financed something somewhere, ask what credit bureau they report to, because then if they report to something and you're making your payments, that's building your credit. You have a paper trail behind you showing that you are trustworthy of paying back what you've spent. So that's another option too. Hey everyone, now I'm sitting with Najoni and she has a question.
Okay, so my question for you, Tara, today is going to be, how can students that work a part-time job but are a full-time student, space out their money-wise with their bills, their fun that they want to do, as in like vacations and stuff, and especially when the pay is 2 weeks, bi-weekly pay. So how can we just manage that?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say if you don't already track your expenses, like what you spend money on, I would start doing that. And then looking at how much do you bring in, and you said you're paid bi-weekly, right? So every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at how much you get paid, how much you bring in those 2 weeks, and then what are your expenses for these, next 2 weeks, looking, prioritize your needs. And then look at, if you can, try to do some savings, because if something happens, that little, even if it's a little bit of savings, will help support that unexpected expense. And then that other portion of money is your fun money. So it may be that you don't have to stop doing all the things that are fun, but maybe you have to decrease how many things you do in that time period. The other thing, a lot of people do expense tracking or budgeting monthly. It takes some time because you have to look at what are my expenses for the month, what is my income for the month, and what do I have that I could spend on the fun things, right? Because it's so important. You do have to take care of yourself, and so you have to do those things that bring you joy. And a lot of times those things cost money.
Yes, of course.
And working part-time and then going to school full-time, I can completely understand that. And I would say, keep working part-time. If during your breaks in between semesters, your job could offer you more hours, and you could work more hours, I'd say work as many hours as you could, and then set aside that extra that you're not making during the semester when you're in school. The other thing is apply for scholarships. If you go to the financial aid website, you'll see they have all kinds of different scholarships available, because if you're awarded a scholarship, that then will help pay for the next semester's tuition, possibly books, that kind of thing. And then that's less money from your job that you're going to have to spend on those things. So applying for scholarships as often and as many as you can, because a couple of hours could get you a $500, $1,000 scholarship. That's a lot of money for a couple hours of work to apply.
Yes,
right.
Yes, of course.
So,
Okay.
anything else?
No, that sounds good.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna look at how much I make in a month, and then just start there and start sorting my money and stuff, and base it off what's important to what's least important. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Before we go, we want to emphasize that the financial literacy team is here to provide support and guidance to MCC students on their journey to improving and maintaining their financial knowledge. You can find us on MCC's financial aid website by clicking on the financial literacy section on the left side. There you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with a peer mentor if you have questions or want personal support with your financial goals, access a free cash course account, stay informed about upcoming workshops and events, and explore additional financial information. Remember, financial literacy is key to achieving your goals, and we're here to provide you with the knowledge, resources, and tools you need. Until next time, take control of your finances and make your college dreams a reality.